Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We're playing with the Ashes of Malmouth expansion as a gun-toting Inquisitor. And today we're gonna make the walk through the Broken Hills on our way to at least the Smuggler's Pass and the Deadman's Gulch, and maybe, just maybe, we might even make it as far as Homestead. But we'll have to see just how distracted we're gonna get on the way there. One of the quests we are going to do is the Merciful End for Lutra the Abandoned. A harpy that definitely does need some slaying. Breeders like these that just walk towards you, it is very nice dealing with them. No sense of self-preservation. Ooh, triple heroes, that's gonna be fun. Let's just amp this up a little bit, get some AoEs going. And that went surprisingly well. Wonderful. Cool. In between episodes I emptied my pockets and I had a quick look. I discovered I had a bunch of Sliff amulets still, so I went back to the Act 1 area where you can hand in the Sliff amulets to get the Sliff Primal Ring, which has 10% elemental resist, which is actually useful since 2 out of 3 elemental resist are not yet maxed. So it's small upgrades, but useful nonetheless. And at the vendor there I found this lovely little gem. It has 11.5 health regen per second as well as a 11% bonus. It has some cooldown reduction, it has some spirit, and it has a 10% chance when I get hit to cast Heal on me for 7% plus 107% health restored. And this can trigger once every 5 seconds. So one of the reasons why I want the Behemoth is effectively because it has an effect like that will trigger. So having another effect like that is based from an item rather than from a devotion is of course very nice to have. So that might be useful if you find rings like that. Keep them, especially if they're lower level, since a build like this that is not incredibly strong or persuasive in terms of its defensive properties early on in the game might just be a good candidate to use rings like that on until you have access to the Behemoth or equivalent defensive traits.
That skill's not ready.
Okay, so that was Lutra. Once we go back to her mother, which we'll just do now, otherwise I will forget. We get a whole attribute point for our efforts. Suffering is done, and we get 1 point. Yeah, so it is a physique's turn again, and I think I'll actually put a couple of extra points into physique just to try and keep them roughly balanced. Okay, this has the potential to be a Bridge of Doom depending on how many gnarly things spawn on the other side, because sometimes you do get overwhelmed by like 2 or 3 or even 4 of the unique hog type things. In this case it seems like we're not really getting a lot of them. We did get ourselves a devotion point, so might as well spend it. Cunning and offensive ability, that means more hits and more crits. I think I like it. Offensive ability, 97.1% chance to hit and a 97% chance to crit against the last enemy we hit. Well, being well above 90% is always a nice thing. And from this point forward, I think we can just follow the road in the other direction. It's roughly northwest on our way forward. And there we find Elsa. Alrighty then. The funny thing is, at this point, there's no more point in... No, actually just having a chat with Mornay that Elsa is still alive. Oh, she explicitly asks you to tell him that she was dead. He just doesn't care anymore. Let's see, I think the Mistborn also have some shaman type, but it could be that outside of here you don't find those yet. Okay, just a couple of stone tusks. They don't really do much until you aggro them, which is kind of funny. Gives you plenty of time to set up your traps and roast those piggies. Now, if you see a group of enemies taking the effort to just plonk down two runes, slightly besides each other, so you have different angles covered, might help. Wonderful. But of course, and funny enough, you'll see that shooting enemies is all of a sudden just going flawlessly, and you just shoot down hordes of monsters with just a single shot. Whereas if you don't put down the mines, then of course that is not gonna happen. That's just irony for you. Ooh, dominators, reanimators. No, same deal, basically. We're getting attacked from two angles here. Might as well just defense up a little bit with our circle. And these were just two enemies. So if you want, now there are plenty of enemies here for you to murderize. But the most efficient way is to just walk through and then cross the bridge. Something is being healed here. I think I might have already killed their shaman. Hello there, troll. Goodbye there, troll. Yeah, looks like those hunters have a self-heal. Well, doesn't really matter. They can't resist my might. Especially not if I one-shot them. And that is them gone. Yeah, feels like we've got a bit of groove going on here. Just pushing through, not putting in too much, not having too many issues with enemies. No, them not staying alive for all too long. Oh yeah, big enemy, so no, don't get hit. Especially, a larger, slower enemy like that. Oh, see, he did manage to get a hit on me with the ground slam attack. But that was it, and we did gain level 28. So, that unlocks... Well, we should at least grab the Horn of Gandarr, because that is a new active skill. Let's put it over there, Horn of Gandarr. And then, let's see, Stomp Spread is going to be a new active proc, which ought to be useful, especially because it's lightning based and we are massively boosting our lightning damage. On the other hand, Arcane Empowerment Well, it grants us elemental damage and retaliation in the circle. And artifact handling is just a minor modifier. So I think the splashiest one is going to be Storm Spread. And this is also one that the next couple of levels will just want to boost this a little bit. Just to get the chance up to at least 20%. Or to 20%, you can't boost it more. So between these three skills we will have a 60% chance to cast a special attack. And then the belt and the talisman both grant another 20%. So there's going to be 80% chance of something special happening and only a 20% chance of a default attack happening. And of course, all the while we will be using the Fire Strike as our base attack. Ooh, yes. The lightning thing, I overlooked that it shoots multiple projectiles. That actually makes it really neat. Wonderful. I think our life just got more colorful with the multiple projectiles. Definitely a different take on the thing of attacking multiple enemies. Now you can have AoE explosions that helps against clumped up enemies, but multiple projectiles that hopefully actually pick their own targets. That is a better way of dealing with enemies that are slightly more spread apart. Whereas the freezing of the frost proc is of course useful against tougher single enemies. So, the three different procs that you have as an Inquisitor for your weapon attacks, they do all have their different uses and their different target demographic, so to say. Different audiences that will be useful, or that will like it or not like it, depending on their preferences. Yeah, and it's early on in the episode, and after that I think we can just run through the place. Let's have a chat with you, look for your sister, and then we can dive into the next area. And I think after that, the march to Homestead should definitely be possible. Oh, we have the Horn of Gandarr, and I haven't used it yet. Shame on me. I was just, no, in my defense, I was just so impressed with the multiple attacks that I completely forgot about it. That's a little bit of a horn sound, but no, I do have my game audio tuned down to quite a bit, so I think it's gonna be a rather subtle thing rather than clearly distinctive. Okay, somewhere to the left hand side of the map is a shrine. Always useful to go for devotion shrines. That's also generally where the corpses that we're looking for, that does help. I say it works pretty well, the shout, or the horn sounding. And let's see, we should have crossed that one, so now we'll just walk a little by and then just backtrack. Most of the time that is possible here. Oh, there are some random elements to the map generation, so no, the stones and blockades are most of the time randomly picked. Or at least partially randomly picked. Let's not stand in there for too long. Yeah, and let's go back up. Okay, there's enough enemies here that I just wanna use the runes to deal with them to a certain degree. Wonderful. Okay. This place is gonna get littered with enemies, so I'll just spread my runes around quite a bit. So we can have multiple places where the runes are gonna trigger when enemies go over them. So we can just fight a retreating battle where needed. Okay, useful. See, that one tried to sidestep me, sneaky bugger. Worked rather well. Ooh, Palace Will. If you're a Necromancer, this is a very nice offhand this early in the game. Bonus to vitality damage, as well as +1 to all Necromancer skills. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Earlier we found a Plague Blood Carver, a poison-based sword, +2 to Bloody Pox, and a chance of poison retaliation means this is not bad as a caster weapon actually. If you're playing Bloody Pox, dual wielding these babies gives you +4 to Bloody Pox as well as a pretty good chance of getting some poison retaliation going. Let's see, physique's lower, so we'll just spend more points on that one. Also we gained ourselves devotion points, so let's not forget to spend it. And that completes the vulture. So next up is going to be 1 blue point, which we can obtain by refunding the red starter. So yeah, next point we gain, we can actually start on the behemoth, which is pretty wonderful. Oh, this is a bottleneck that asks for runes. Okay, so the question of where the corpse of Dahlia is hiding is also a little different from time to time. And luckily the minimap does not disappoint. In case we get surrounded, sound the horn. And there we have Ikrix the Ravener, and Ikrix hurts. Well, Ikrix and body is hurt, so I'm not quite sure who is to blame. But either way, let's be a little bit on the move. Kill the fatality based dudes. Ooh, treasure trove, that is lovely. And Ikrix is no more. Cool. Then the treasure trove means basically free loot. This is a disappointing one. We got a soul shard and some arcanum oil. Well, arcanum oil, 30 seconds of increased elemental damage, but I always forget to use those. And Dahlia Taverin is dead. So we can report that one back. But for now, let's focus on getting to Homestead. And then we can just efficiently report all of the quests at the same time. So more points in the horn will of course increase the reach of the horn sounding, and I think that's going to be a good thing, since a horn sounder based build might not be a bad thing. Big two-hander focusing on the horn of Gandarr, and it's just synergizing with pierce damage. Sounds like it might be a pretty nice deal. We only have an 8% chance for the lightning to trigger, so we don't see it all that often yet. But a couple more points and that won't be an issue anymore. And let's just go north. Witch doctors are basically priests, so they must die first before anything else. Ooh, hello there, Etheros. Okay, you're gonna deal ether damage, I'm assuming, with a name like that. Oh, well. I guess my damage was more impressive than his potential damage would be, since he died before I could really do much about it. tried running in and just sounding the horn, but they didn't really seem all that impressed. For some reason. Yeah. Is there a limit to how many enemies can be affected by the horn? That would be silly, but not unthinkable. Wonderful. Let's just double check this. Study the Horn of Gandarr. Study of the horn was forbidden for centuries due to its mind-shattering properties, but desperation called it into use when High Inquisitor Censure utilized the horn to great effect while single-handedly taking on an occult coven. The cultists turned upon each other in confusion, allowing Censure to finish off the stragglers with ease. This earned the Inquisitor a commendation, and the horn was later replicated by the Luminary Scholars for field use, though with reduced potency. The description does not mention it has a target limit, so presumably that's going to be everything in range. Well, it could be that the range is tiny still. We'll improve it and then we'll just observe in the wild. Because based on the numbers, it does have the potential to be an impactful skill. And there we are. One more portal that needs to be liberated. Nazagat the Fallen. Now let's put up a circle here, because there will be more. Hello there. Haraf the Slaughterer. Works pretty well. So that is one portal liberated. Then a good habit is to simply go back to Deadman's Gulch and first have a chat with the brother. So she's sorry, she's dead, I'm sorry for your loss. And then have a chat with Ulgrim. And then he teleports everybody. If you just speak with Ulgrim first, you have to look for the brother afterwards, which it's not difficult to do, but it is a little bit of a hassle if he is right there. So with that, we've managed to get to a Homestead. So I have a quick chat with everybody here. Hello. So we'll just set up the food train. Can we help you in some way? Yes, you want infestations cleared. Well, clearing out infestations is my specialty. Doesn't really matter if it's a pest or if it's a bunch of undead or... No. I just clear out anything and everything. I'm just incredibly good at killing things. So, we'll have a chat with Ulgrim, then he refers us back to Captain Sommer here, who has a little bit of a bug problem. Oh no, actually they have an ethereal problem. You are looking for your lost cannons. Well, we'll recover those at some point as well. Bit of a suicide run. But it is fun. 200 guns. Well, as I mentioned, 200 guns and Horn of Gandarr work pretty well together, at least on paper. For our build though, not all that useful. Offhand caster things, nope, not useful. Gloves, lightning damage, we do a little bit of that. Bonus to cold and lightning resist. From a defensive perspective, not actually that bad, since we are lacking both of those. But in this case, I think I'm just gonna err a little bit towards the side of aggression, just because it's fun. And the bonus to pierce damage and attack speed and the ranged expertise is quite useful. Okay, and another one. Boom. So there we are. We gained a level, so let's spend the point. We are still very low on physique compared to cunning, so boost that. So 1 point in arcane empowerment, 1 point in artifact handling, so at least we have all the passives now boosted. And as I said, I want to get the storm spread up a couple points. So we'll boost that a little bit until that one is at Probably boost it to 4 and then 1 point towards the next one, and a level afterwards boost it to 6 and then another point towards the next level. Seems like a decent balance. Yeah, we're good there. Let's see. So let's have a quick look outside of a town. Let's grab the next waypoint. While we are fighting off bug eggs. The terrifying foe, bug eggs. But hey, they need a hero. And a hero I shall be. Wonderful thing is I just focus on shooting the bugs, and all the AoEs and no self-guiding lightning bolts, they take care of the bug egg problem. That's actually one I intentionally shoot. Hiding behind the tree. Clever egg cluster. Ooh, double heroic. Now there's where it gets interesting. Especially once they want to surround me and I blow the horn. Yeah, good times. Good times. And there we go. So, yeah, not even actually quite sure if it's all due to the lightning bolt and the horn, or whether it's just more and more of the pieces of the build just slowly getting together, but it feels like we're now more fluently just mashing through large amounts of enemies. Well, yeah, this is what a build like this just makes it so much fun, because there's just so much happening. It's visually very satisfying to go after the enemies. Okay, so here's Dela's diary. Normally this is just a side quest, not really all that important. Now you get to read her diary. Oh, it's dreams of her having a hero's life, a bit of a secret hero's life. But in the expansion, let's see, over here in the Morndale area, if you have completed this quest, if you've handed the diary to Dela, then she's gonna be there. Excuse me. Sorry, talking a little bit too much here. Okay. If you have read the diary, she's gonna be in Morndale. If you have not read the diary, she will not be in Morndale. If you then go back to here, read the diary, and then go back to Morndale, she will be there. Well, reading the diary and actually also having a chat with Adela to let her know you read her diary. So I find that quite interesting that one of the side quests now actually has been promoted to a precondition for solving a later quest, for even finding a later quest. And somewhere around here ought to be a waypoint. So let's go there. Oh, and a devotion shrine. I do like myself some devotion shrines. Wonderful. It's interesting that I haven't found the waypoint yet. Or am I just misremembering the timeline here? I do apologize that my voice is giving out here. I guess that's gonna be the last one I'll record for the night. Okay, let's actually have a fight not in the ether here. But yeah, we are much more effortlessly mowing through enemies. Ah, yes. That is where the waypoint is. So we can use that to go back to Homestead, have a chat with Ayla. And have a chat with Douglas. We cleared out your farms after all. And he's gonna tell us to go after the queen. If you've been enthusiastic and walked on, and of course, after killing the queen you can still go back and you'll be happy with that. In this case we'll just wink. And that was Dela's side quest. So now I have a couple of things lined up. We still have to go back to the Steps of Torment, because we have to have a chat with Calderos, and there is a devotion shrine all the way at the bottom there. We also have to go to Tyrant Hold, because there are 2 devotion shrines, if I'm remembering correctly, on the way there, as well as a couple of Black Legion quests. And we have some gruesome harvest area quests to complete. We have the queen to kill, and we have the ethereal amalgamation to kill, and of course side step into the conflagration to retrieve the cannons and kill the boss in the end. After all of those things, we're gonna move on north towards Sorrow's Bastion. The devs did make it very tempting to just go to all the places, because everywhere you go you get rewarded with devotion points, and those of course are very nice rewards, even better than simple quest XP and things like that. So yeah, we spent points there. I think blue was the thing, exactly, and that is the behemoth. So next point we can just unlock, refund the crossroads, and then pick up 10 health regen from the behemoth. So with that said, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next episode. Bye bye.